If you're thinking about building an accessory dwelling unit in Napa County or the city of Napa, then this video is for you. It's going to be all about this forgivable loan for up to $85,000. I really need your help, so watch this video. And even if you don't live in Napa, this is going to be relevant to you because I think programs like this are going to be appearing around the state and around the country. Honestly, it's going to happen because people like you watch the whole video and learn how to advocate for these sorts of programs where you live. If you stop watching my videos just because they're about Napa, you might not get a program like this, and it's going to be your own fault. That's what it is. It's kind of a miracle that it's in my own backyard. There's just all these entities. The County of Napa's got a very progressive housing and homelessness division. The Napa ADU Center has been a real think tank and force of change in Napa and Sonoma. And what part you contribute to it by watching these videos and me happening to live in Napa, let's give ourselves some credit too. I'm so proud that the county has actually chosen to work with me to create the educational material for this program. So this is where I could really use your help. As you listen to me explain this program, you had questions popping into your head. And I need you to write those questions in the comments because whatever you're thinking, that's probably the most important stuff for me to address up front and up top. There's all kinds of rules that determine how much of a loan you can get, but a lot of people will only get $40,000. It's still a lot of money. And in a lot of ways, it's much more interesting than the state grant, and it can stack with the state grant if the state grant comes back. So very interesting program. Okay, so this is eligible for ground up new construction or conversions as long as it's a new ADU. There are no income eligibility requirements for the homeowner. Having said that, there is one catch, which they've done really well. You need to rent this unit to somebody affordably, and that person needs to income qualify. Having said that, it could be somebody you know. So I know a lot of people who have a 16-year-old kid. They're thinking it takes me a year and a half to build the ADU. They're gonna be in school. They're gonna be an adult that is able to pay rent. Might as well be paying that rent to me. And so they're building that ADU knowing that they'll rent it for 5 years to their own kid. Or they have a fixed income senior in their life. Maybe it's like grandma or mom is paying somebody for housing. Might as well be paying me. Build that in-law suite in the back and put your in-law in it. And if the in-law income qualifies, then that counts as your deed restricted affordability requirement. And the other thing is you could rent to a stranger at affordable income levels. Affordable still is in the thousands per month, right? The AMI is so high in Napa County that you might consider renting it affordably because this is such a nice incentive at the front end for the financing. What's more, you can opt out at any time. If at any point you want to opt out of the affordability requirement or any other part of this loan, there's no penalties for opting out. So the way it works is every year a certain amount of the forgivable loan is forgiven. And that's based on how much vacancy you had in the affordable unit. So if you go through a 12-month year, and you rent it out every one of those months to an income qualified tenant, then at the end of the year, you get 20% of the loan forgiven, 20% of the interest forgiven. It's a 3% simple interest rate, by the way. So it's a sweet deal, even if you had to pay the interest. If you had, let's call it 2 months vacant, so 1/6 of the year vacant, because you're between tenants, it just took you time to fill it. Then at the end of the year, they would prorate the amount forgiven for those 2 months. And then at the end of the original 5 years, you can either opt into another year of deed restriction, so you get your components out of the way, or you can pay off the part of the loan that hasn't been forgiven yet at 3% simple interest, which is a sweet deal these days. There are incentives that you can get on top of the base loan. So the base loan has these amounts for different size ADUs. You can do a studio, 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom, and 2 bedrooms the most with up to $85,000 as your base loan that's forgivable. Then there are incentive programs. So for example, if you happen to be an unincorporated county, then they can pay up to $10,000 toward fees to the county, like permitting fees. If you want to use the Napa ADU Center's pre-approved or pre-reviewed plans, then those pre-reviewed plans, there's a $2,500 incentive to use that program. If you happen to already have the CalHFA grant, or if it comes back, then you get another $2,500 incentive to use the $40,000 grant. Pretty crazy. All in all, this is an amazing program, but it's a very complicated program where homeowners have to follow along. There's this whole finance process. $105,000 or whatever you get for your forgivable loan is a lot, but it's not enough to finish the ADU in most cases. So you probably need some conventional financing alongside the forgivable loan program from the county. Plus, you're gonna be building for a year, maybe more. Then you're gonna be renting for 5 years, maybe more at affordable rates. So there's a lot of, this is a long program, right? You're signing up homeowners to like a 7-year process in a lot of ways. So that requires some education. And I'm so proud that the county has actually chosen to work with me to create the educational material for this program. So this is where I could really use your help. As you listen to me explain this program, you had questions popping into your head. And I need you to write those questions in the comments, because whatever you're thinking, that's probably the most important stuff for me to address up front and up top. There are very long webinars that you can watch, links in the video description below, where the county representatives or other individuals go through a lot of the program details. And they're super important, and if you're interested in the program, you should totally watch those. Having said that, we tend to give every detail equal importance while we're listing it out in a long webinar format. Whatever you ask the most questions about in the comments, or give the most thumbs up to the questions that already exist, that tells me like, okay, this is a really common question. I should make sure to address that kind of at the top. Already I'm thinking like, did I say GC requirement? I'll be working on 3 videos specifically. One is to make sure everybody can finish the construction project successfully, which means a little bit of teaching project management and like how to pick a contractor and how to communicate well with multiple people on a job site. 2 is just making sure that they know how to manage the financial side of this. Like they've got this forgivable loan, they probably have conventional financing right beside it, and those interact. Like if I choose to opt out of the forgivable loan in year 3, what impact does that have on my conventional lending, and what are my responsibilities? How do I manage that? And then 3 is like how to be a landlord, how to set up a good lease agreement, how to make sure you have good communication with a tenant, how to be a better landlord. No offense to landlords in the audience, you know, there's a big difference between great landlords and very dumb landlords. As a renter in California, I have had the pleasure of both, and a good landlord makes a huge difference. Good clarity between the tenant and the landlord, good communication, good understanding of who's responsible for what makes all the difference. So I'm kind of teaching those principles to people, and I could use your help. If you have advice you wish everybody knew who goes through this program, put it in the comments. If you have questions about the details, put it in the comments. If you are very particularly good at one of the 3 subjects I'm going to be covering, and you want to work on the video with me, I do have drafts that you can contribute to. Let me know. I want this to be a really first-class educational product. I want people to look at it and understand why every component is in there. And I want to be able to show this to other regions and say, this is why the program was successful. We're not just giving out money. We're training people to be good stewards of that money through the construction process. We're training them to understand their lending and their financing options throughout the program. And we're training them to be good landlords. You know, we're signing them up for a 7-year process between plans, finance, design, permits, construction, and then landlording for 5 years at affordability. So we really want to bring them along on that journey. If you want to make sure that this video series is best in class alongside me, I welcome your input. Hit the comments. We're going to make this really good. We're going to make this fly. And if it goes well, then you're going to see programs like this popping up all over California. Watch the channel. I'll tell you exactly when to strike. We'll be publishing data about the success of the program, and we'll tell you how to ask your local government officials, your local elected officials and city staff, county staff, how to do programs like this in your area.